All right, what's up, people? Black Is Moor podcast. Um, we back, man. It's been a while, but we're trying to put out some more content. Had some people asking us where we've been at, and I think because of some recent events and things like that, both positive and negative events, it's a good time to return. So it's your host, or one of your hosts, Aaron, and got my boy Sale. Sale, what's up?
What up, though?
How you feeling, man?
Feeling great, man. How's it going?
It's good. Life is good right now, man. I can't complain. Um,
Yeah,
got a lot
more
going on in the
life.
world. Right, right, yeah. I'm an uncle now since the last time we got on.
Hey,
Shit. Yeah,
congrats.
yeah. So that's nice. But yeah, life is good, man. What about you?
Life is beautiful, man. Just enjoying life, you know. Just enjoying family, enjoying my work, enjoying health, working out and stuff like that. And can't complain. Just beautiful,
That's good, man.
just beautiful.
That's good. Wakanda forever. All right. Anyway, we're gonna talk about two topics today. Kind of gave a heads up right there as to one of them. First one, we'll kind of dive into just the mass shootings and stuff that's constantly been popping up. I feel like for the last X amount of years, it's just been constantly happening. Probably something we've touched on before. And second,
Mm-hmm.
we'll talk about the great film, and I feel comfortable using great Black Panther, and just some of the positive things that came of that, and maybe some of the hidden messages that we noticed in it. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert. So go watch it, then come back and listen. We'll just do it that way. But anyway, first things first. School shooting in Parkland, Florida. Um, is it Stoneman High School or something like that? Stoneman High School in
Yeah,
Florida.
Stoneman Douglas.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
In Florida, obviously, unfortunately, there was a school shooting. I'm sure everybody heard about this. 17 people lost their lives. 17 high school students lost their lives. I think maybe like 23 injured or something like that. I have to check that number. But
Yeah, so
and like I said, this is a constant thing that I feel like has been happening, for years and years and years. So it always brings up, a lot of heated, passionate discussions and topics on both sides of the spectrum. Definitely unfortunate that this had to happen and families affected and all that stuff. But I guess what I'm kind of wondering is what now? And we'll definitely try to kind of see how this could affect us as black people. I mean, black kids go to school too, so I think ultimately it kind of starts right there. But I mean, what do you think? This or needs to happen as a result of like this shooting, and what do you think there needs to be said about them constantly happening, man? Like, what's going on?
well, I'm one of those people that think that officers should be at the school. So I think a lot more officers, a lot more, police officers should be on campus to protect that. I see there's like some suggestions saying that there should be some teachers that carry guns. Just about like all teachers should be having guns, which is just stupid to me. But I'm just one of those people that think that they should step up their security. I mean, got officers that, you know, are pretty much free to harass minorities or people of color. So I would think they have enough free time to go and, secure the school. But that's my opinion. What about yours?
Well, I agree. I definitely think security in schools is a top priority. And it's crazy though because I mean when I kind of just pause and think about what we're talking about, like I don't. It's just kind of shocking to me that we have to even consider like making sure that we have armed officers and stuff at the school
Right.
just in case it's like and I put a status up on or responded to someone else's status on Facebook, just kind of saying how we've become so desensitized to these things, and it's really sad. And I think we were
Bro,
talking
I'm
about
really
kind of
numb to this, bro.
right, right, which is and it's not like I don't think anybody is consciously like just like brushing it by the wayside or anything like that. But I think we just see it so often. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when you when your mama used to whoop you when you were younger. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually, if it happens so much, it still hurt. But
Yeah, it's whatever.
you get so used to it. You get so
Right,
used to it
right.
exactly.
Yep.
And I think that is such a dangerous um, mindset to get into because when you get desensitized to something, you kind of lose that shock factor, right? And that shock factor and that anxiety and fear and all that stuff that it brings about kind of forces you to change. You know what I'm saying? Like I used the comparison in the comment I made on Facebook that this is the same emotional response that men who or cavemen had that put them in caves in the first place because they were scared of bigger predators. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
they
right.
were shocked, but they didn't get desensitized and like, oh shit, well we lost another person to a to a woolly mammoth or to a saber tooth tiger. They didn't just get
Right.
desensitized. They found shelter. They made themselves safer as a result of something shocking happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think that mentality, even though it's kind of a subconscious one and one that we can't really help because you see it so often, it's dangerous to get into. But um, with the arming teachers thing, man, I agree, man. That is the stupidest thing I think we could do,
Right,
honestly.
like say for instance, like if a teacher just broke up with their, spouse or whatnot, and they going through it, if
Right,
little Johnny pisses you off, you're just
right.
liable to pull a gun on the kid, or take it a step further and go ahead and shoot the kid. Like it or, they could just have a bad day. You never know. Like it's just stupid to even think that they're even thinking about something like this. Like,
And, and it's funny because I was, I think one of my coworkers, when like this came up at work, and one of my coworkers kind of joked like exactly what you're saying. Like, I mean, we were like kind of being playful with it, but like, them kids, they some of them get entitled and like they start talking in class, and you're gonna have teachers like, all right, keep talking, man. Like like what's you know. I mean,
especially
again,
them
it was playful,
substitute
but I think
teachers, bruh.
there could be some right, right. I mean, but I think it could be some truth there. And like even on a more like like on a different level, man. Like we're already asking our teachers to do so damn much,
Right.
man. And they don't get paid. You know what I'm saying? Now you asking them to be willing to put their life on the line to like learn how to use a weapon properly and put some lead down range to potentially kill a active shooter. Like, come on,
Right.
man. Come on, bro. Like, I mean, it's too much to me.
Well,
So
I really think the educational system is flawed a lot.
I
And
agree a
I
thousand percent.
believe that when it comes to education, we should have more military people educating the students. And that goes for, uh, teaching them about discipline and, other things like that. But with that, these teachers who would, have some type of military experience, like, I think that would be beneficial for the kids and their safety as well. Um, Now, when it comes to the current teachers in this climate, I feel like there should be some type of training that they do at least over the summer. I mean, they ain't got nothing to do over the summer, so you might as well, train them for situations like this for some. But like, I wouldn't say guns is the thing, but at the same time, like they need to go through certain situations. Like to me, Code Red when I was a kid, like the little siren go off, everybody lock their doors, get under the table and stuff like that. But that was it. Like I don't think the teachers were even ready to do anything. So one thing I want to do is shout out the coaches and the teachers who shielded the kids and end up dying in the process. Like that was incredible. That was like some heroic stuff right there. So just want to shout them out. Um, but it's just crazy just to think that people are even suggesting that these teachers should have guns. Like it's just heinous. Like I don't know what to say about that.
Now, and I want to ask you a question because when you were just kind of explaining that, it made me think about something. First, though, teachers, we ain't trying to take away your summer break, all right? Because I know that's important, y'all. But what I wanted to ask was because one of the responses, you know, what I'm saying, like obviously there's a lot of different angles to the conversation when it comes to this, and gun reform and all this stuff
Right.
comes up, ban of AR-15s, all this. But one thing that I've a new defense that I keep hearing that I don't completely disagree with is the fact that kids or adolescents or youth need to be um, brought up better, or there needs to be a little bit more of a moral guidance in the home, and parents need to do so. I'm like, all right, man, I don't think that's the main
Right.
protagonist here, but I do think I think we can always do a better job of raising our youth. But I'm just kind of looking at the black community because I feel like the black community gets a lot of flack for how we raise
Oh
our
yeah,
kids.
most
Kids
definitely.
raising kids, things like that. So what do you think there is to be said about that piece? Like, do you think there's some truth to that? Do you think it's just BS by the right side to try to you know dilute the conversation and gear it away from gun control? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, the way you brought up is very important. That's the reason why I said like having military teachers would be a whole nother level. Like just to think, a lot of stuff that goes on today wouldn't even happen if we had military teachers. Like let's just say we made every school a military type school. These people wouldn't act up like that. I mean, it wouldn't be that many situations. Um, and it has to deal with how you're brought up, your environment. And I'm sick and tired of hearing these parents say, "Oh well, I didn't know. He just came out of nowhere. He was perfectly fine." Like, really? There's always tips. Like, um, I can't speak clearly on this because it's just going through my mind right now a little bit. But if I do recall, I think either the government or the FBI had some type of tip on this kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
FBI
yeah,
and local
they had a
police.
tip
Yep.
on this kid, and they dropped the ball. Like, I hate to just cross over like that, but what? How? How do you drop the ball on that?
Man,
If you have enough stuff on that,
I don't
like
even
if
have an
you have
answer.
enough stuff on that, I mean, if the FBI knows, if local knows, how do you as a parent? Let me rephrase that because he's 19 years old. I'm not sure if he stays at home with his parents or not, but like the people around him, somebody should know.
Well, I think they said the neighbors called the police to the house like 30 some times because he was doing some strange things like killing
Red
animals in the
flag.
neighborhood or something. Um, yeah, exactly. And I will say, just as somebody who has worked in the mental health
Right.
field for a little bit, um, I don't know if every time there's a sign, but I will say most times for
Right.
sure there's something. You know what I'm saying? Because I do have situations where somebody will do something bad, or like one to hurt themselves or kill themselves, or one to hurt somebody else or kill somebody else, and there's literally no, like, they just come to work, everything's normal. But those cases I will say are on the
Right.
fewer side. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was 10 situations, probably 8 or 9 you would see a sign. So I definitely agree that there's usually some kind of tell, and in this situation, like you said, FBI knew, local law enforcement knew. So I don't know, man. It's so many factors, man, and I'm just
Right.
mad it keeps
I mean,
happening.
what would
Honestly,
be
like I
your
just
solution as far as like
what to do to
Right.
improve
Right.
the
Yeah.
mass shootings, just period. Honestly, man, like, and another kind of blurb that I put on somebody's Facebook status, I think that we would be silly not to look at some type of gun reform. Okay, now let's listen to the second word I said. I said
Right.
reform, not banning. I'm all for people with responsible gun ownership, and if you want to have a gun for person, self defense or hunting or whatever, yeah, cool, do it. I've been to the shooting range. I got for I'm in the military. Like I got tons of friends who love their guns and stuff. I'm not trying to take your guns, but on that note, right? Gun reform. I think that Australia, and look into this. I'm not about to go into super detail right now on it, but look at just go to Google right now. Australia gun reform 1996. Look that up. I think we would be silly not to at least take note of some of the things that they've done. They had a mass shooting 96. I think 36 people died.
Right.
Worst mass shooting in that country. They had major gun reform in 12 days. Both sides of the aisle in their government were able to agree on that. Take notice, Americans, because we can't do that shit for some reason. They made major change, policy change in 12 days. They have not had a mass shooting since. So
Now I
I
think
don't know
that
why we. I
might
think
be
because
England.
no, it's Australia.
Well,
I don't.
the
England may
reason,
be there
like,
too,
I had
but
this
I was just looking at it.
these stats pulled up as well on a number of school shootings since like the year
Mm-hmm.
2000. And England has 0, Greece has 1, Netherlands have 1, Spain, India, Argentina, Russia, they also have 1. China has 3, Mexico 4, Australia 5, Canada 5, Germany 5, South Africa 5, and the US of A with 212.
That's ridiculous, man. That's what like
Right.
a couple thousand% higher than everybody. I mean, like, what the hell, man? Come on, like, I think there has to be something done, man. And then like, I know we're shifting gears here a little bit, but we like I get really passionate about it because I put the
Oh
onus a
yeah, for
lot on our
sure.
leaders, man. Like
We're being
something
bought
has to
out
be
by the
done, man.
NRA.
And
Let's
like I
keep
said,
it a
I'm
buck.
right, right. Yes, 100% agree, man. And like, I'm not saying we have to take the most extreme measures like Australia did, but we can learn something from that situation, man. Like, I mean, look, you got a young boy. My brother just had his son. Like one day these guys gonna be in
Right.
school. I'm trying to make sure they safe. All right, shit. If I gotta go up there, strap my. I mean, look, I'm trying to make sure they get home. All right, that's my goal, and I know that's the same goal for any parent. So I don't see why, man. I think a big part of it too is just because we're America. We don't like to feel like we have to rely on other nations and stuff for their ideas and
Right.
resources because we're the best at everything, right? Like I think we need to humble ourselves, man, and just take note of some things that are working, bro. Like that makes too much sense to me not to at
Well,
least explore that option.
did you watch that
So
CNN
that would be my thing.
joint? Was it yesterday?
No. I'm gonna
Yeah,
rewatch it
they had
because
the
I was interested
NRA
to see some of that stuff. But
spokeswoman. Was it Dana Loesch or something like that? She was she was basically trying to save face for NRA, and it just it wasn't. I didn't get anything out of it. She's like, oh, I want I want all the children just like I want my children to be safe, and there's been times where I've asked for people to do better checkups, and you know what the government says? They don't care. So she kind of like tried to throw them under the bus. Uh,
yeah,
exactly. And
that she gonna give
then
them
the
money
the
behind the
the
scenes. Yeah,
most craziest thing was what's his name? Marco Rubio. He was on there, bruh.
man, I heard they let him have
One
it.
kid
I
was
heard they
like,
let him have it.
"Hey, can you promise me that you will never take a dime from the NRA again?" This man did an Iverson step over Teron Lou around the question, bruh. I was like, huh? What? Like, he clearly didn't answer the question. So we'll take that as a yes. But yeah,
Right, right. That's how our
right,
politicians do, man. We've talked about that before. Like they don't tell the truth.
right.
Like I mean, I'm not surprised. It's sad. Like you got an innocent, child asking you a question and you can't even give them a straight answer. Like, come on, can you not be a
Yep.
politician for 10 seconds? Can
And
you be
shout
a
out to
human
the
being?
sheriff that was sitting next to
You know what I'm
Dana.
saying? Like,
He said something like, "You can't promise these kids that that there would be like less weapons, and the crowd just went crazy because I guess he was sitting there trying to protect her, but I don't know. He just stepped in and was like, "You can't promise these kids that there'll be less weapons," and everybody went crazy. So shout out to him too.
Mm. All right. Well, again, very, very, that the school shooting, very unfortunate, and that kind of just,
Right,
leads to other layers, right? Like kind of what we were getting into. So, y'all let us know what you think. Obviously, we don't like to have to talk about that stuff. Nobody wants to talk about kids getting shot at schools, but I think it's
right,
important.
right.
It's got to have those tough conversations. But all right, now let's go to the motherland for a second, because last week, um, Wakanda was revealed to the world by way of Black Panther. Um, and
Can we say a
like I
disclaimer?
said before, I thought it was a great film. I think,
Ladies and gentlemen,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Wakanda is not real. All right, go ahead.
All right, so but Black Panther film, Marvel movie about the superhero came out last week. I saw it twice. I think the reason that we're kind of bringing it up now is because it had a huge response in the Black community, man. Huge response. So, I kind of open up the floor to you, man. Like, what are some things like, not just even in the film, like things surrounding the film, like people, kind of all getting behind one thing, even though it's
Hmm.
just a movie, or like the way they were dressing up and kind of wanting to
Right.
look back into their culture and see these traditions and stuff. Like, what are some things that you kind of took away from, what
All
this
right,
the
so
movement, I guess,
I'm gonna be
behind
a
this
Debbie
film, man?
Downer right now. Um, and this is dead serious right here. I didn't like what black people did showing out for the movie. Now, it's one thing to dress as Black Panther and Black Panther characters, but when you dressing up as Coming to America characters and just, you know, random African get up and making it a scene with like Coming to America music and stuff like that. Look, I understand you having fun, but to me, and a number of my actual African friends, is cultural appropriation. If a white person came into the movie with blackface or just had a bucket of chicken going to see a Steve Harvey movie, but they dressed up like Martin, to me that's the equivalent. Like it's one thing to be proud and stuff like that. Cool, dress up in your little African garment, whatever. Don't make it a trend though. To me, a lot of this stuff was like on some, you know, just make fun of it. And I didn't appreciate that. And a number of my African friends didn't appreciate that either. Like, I think it's a beautiful thing when black people are opening up and trying to accept their heritage and be proud of where they came from and stuff like that. But at the same time, for those people who are trying to make it like a trend, trying to make it like some fad and make it some type of comedy, like I saw people dressing up like King Joffrey Joffrey from Coming to America and stuff like that, making scenes. I'm like, why? That has nothing to do with Black Panther. And if I'm an African, a person who was born in Africa and came over here, I can see why there's a little divide when it comes to Africans and black people, because you're making this a joke. So I wanted to point that out before I go into you know um, the rest of the whole Black Panther stuff. Now, with that being said, for the people who stuck to you know the the Black Panther cosplay or just wearing some African garments, cool. I appreciate it. I loved it. It was amazing. Um but I I really have a problem with that. I mean, what do you think about that, Aaron?
No, I thought it was a good thing to see people, because to me, like when I look at people kind of wearing the African garments and stuff like that, um,
I'm talking like dressed up in some like Coming to America
where you know what, honestly,
specifically, and
mm,
just on some like making it some type of foolery.
right, and honestly, before you put it in that frame, I didn't even think about it like that. But I will say, I definitely, if it's offending, like if people, like African people, like who are still there and still, like kind of practice traditions, are like, okay,
Right.
yeah, that ain't cool. Um, but like when I initially saw it, I didn't think about it like that. I just was like, okay, they trying to get up, they doing something, they going the extra mile, but they doing something for the movie.
Right.
But no,
But
I know they
but
doing something for the
here's the
movie.
thing though. You got to think about it. When we were younger, kids used to joke on Africans all the time, bro. Like no matter where they came from, no matter how
Mm-hmm.
rich
Yeah.
they were, you could be a rich African and kids were still gonna give you jokes about you being an African booty scratcher and stuff like that. So, all of a sudden, dashikis and stuff are back in. People want to wear African stuff and they're making it a fad and they're not really taking it that serious. So just think, having the mind of an
Mm-hmm.
African, just think like how they perceive this stuff. Like it part of it has to be like a slap in the face. I don't
Yeah.
see it any different than, the Kardashians coming up with boxer braids and they saying, "Oh, it's such a new trend of these. We don't know what to call these boxer braids." Black people been wearing braids their whole life. Like it's cultural appropriation. That's I was just gonna say that's what it is.
Now, oh, go ahead. And now on the flip side though, like when I see the people just not doing the coming to America stuff, or the
Right.
taking it from a comedy movie and doing like that. I like to see, like you said, I liked when people were wearing the traditional garments and things like that and for and the reason I think it's cool, because I hope that it causes people, I hope that's a gateway essentially for people to start to look more into that and see how that um, relates to you. Like that, I saw an interview of Chadwick Boseman, King T'Challa. How dare I? Um, he was on the Breakfast Club and he was saying how this movement and all this stuff, and how I don't know if he did it as a result of being in this
Right.
movie, but he did do the African Ancestry.com thing. And because he was talking about it, and I'm like, man, I really like what he was doing with the movie. Like, seems like a stand-up guy. Now I'm gonna do that. I want to see which, not just where continent I'm from, but I want to see which African tribe that my lineage comes from, so I can start to look at some of those
Right.
traditions and see how I can incorporate that and see like where I really came from. So I'm hoping that people kind of going to get these garments and seeing that film really makes you think back to how great we were, man. Honestly, because I think that's one thing that the movie was subtly trying to show you, man. Like that, you know, like black people
Right.
even though this was a futuristic
Oh yeah, for sure.
setting, I think it was a glimpse of the past too, man. I mean, think about how great Kemet was, like when that was
Right.
at the height of its empire and all the science and knowledge and stuff that they had, right? Like, so I think I hope that it's a gateway for people to learn more. Now, question for you. Now, tell me what were some of the symbols or the symbolisms or subtle messages that you saw in the movie that you liked?
All right. White people don't be mad at me. The first one that stands out is the whole colonizer name. That was
Yeah,
hilarious. Um,
yeah, it was funny.
the reason why the context that they used it in, I'm not gonna tell you where we're getting this vibranium from. I'm not gonna give you the insight because what they've been known to do is just take it, regardless. I mean, when you look at Gaddafi and the whole, you know, Pan Africanism, uh, what's that? currency thing, like everything to me like made sense. And going back to Pan Africanism, the whole Eric Killmonger, that's a guy that I had more in agreement with him than I did Black Panther. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
his whole insight into Pan Africanism, it's on some joints like, look, Africa, you got all these resources, and you got black people that look just like you that's struggling across the world, and they're being oppressed. How are we going to come together and help them out? That's something that I feel like is current today. It's been current, forever. Um, the scenes of seeing T'Challa go in and technically pray to his ancestors and being
Yeah,
and
I love
connect
that, man.
with his father. Like for me, that's who I talk to. I talk to my ancestors. I shout them out on Facebook sometimes. Like that's what I do. So I felt like that was something good that I caught. Just seeing how strong black women are. I mean, the smartest, the most technology advanced person was a black woman, his sister. She was,
Mm-hmm.
an amazing character. Just seeing the way Angela Bassett carried herself in the film. Nakia, aka Lupita Nyong'o, the way she carried herself. Like women, from my understanding, in the beginning, like they were the ones that did all the hunting and stuff like that in the beginning. So like women, they're strong, and I feel like um this movie captured that, because we tend to pick up these European traits and way of life and this caveman mentality in which that's not us. So it was great to see the amazing things that these black women did. Um just the whole just going back to Eric Killmonger, like the whole situation with the relationship with Americans and Africans, like I feel like that's um something a bridge that needs to somehow be repaired. Um and just seeing Black Panther, the superhero, T'Challa, I felt like he was the representation of King Mansa Musa, who was like the richest guy ever in the history books. Um, and also, getting a little feel for the Black Panther Party, because the little line that Eric Killmonger had about the revolutionaries, like he was like, I come from the place of revolutionaries. And for me, I'm from Oakland,
Mm.
so I caught that, and I was like, you damn right. Like we're the home of Black Panthers and stuff like that. Like my grandma's a Black Panther, so I felt what he was saying in the film. Um, Also the whole what's the name of that big dude, Mbaka or something like that.
Yeah,
When homie
and
said he
yeah.
was going to feed the colonizer
Oh
to his
yeah.
kids and laughed and said, "No, I'm joking. We're vegetarians, bruh. We not supposed to be eating meat like that. Like that's not us." So I
Another
caught
message
that.
there.
That was something that I really enjoyed. Um, and this doesn't have to do with the film, but those those pictures that they were showing about people getting beat up, white people, like that joint was hilarious. Like there were a few pictures saying, I got jumped
Oh
at
yeah,
Black.
man. That's so stupid, bruh.
And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah. I
like,
was like, what are you
oh,
talking
you
about?
could
Yeah, nah,
dress
nah, I
up for
got you.
Harry Potter, you could dress up for
Right.
Star Wars, but you can't dress up for Black Panther. They're too rowdy. Get out of here. But that those are some of the things that really caught my eye when it comes to the film Black Panther. And just being from Oakland, California, and seeing Oakland have some type of representation in the film. I thought it was lovely. So I automatically became biased to the film as soon as it said Oakland 1992 or whatever. Um, it was a wrap for me. But what you think?
Yeah, so I definitely agree. I think Killmonger was, man, he was such a highlight, man, because I think my brother was saying, like, during the whole movie, he's like, man, this Joker got a good point at what he, I know he's the villain,
Dog,
but
he's
he got
not
a
a
good
villain
point
to
at what
me.
he's getting at.
From what he
Right. Yeah.
said,
You're right. That's not the right term
right.
to use with him. Yeah, you're right. Um, but so I agree with him and kind of his motives. But thinking back on it, my favorite character was Okoye, man. The general, like his
Oh
his top
man, she was
bodyguard.
dope.
And I don't want to mispronounce her name, but I'm gonna try to say it. But Dana Goria, I'm
Something
probably
like
messing
that.
that up because I'm yeah. But in any case, man, I think there was two scenes that she was in that kind of really just like hit me. One was when they were going into the casino, like the back alley casino, and she had that
Right.
wig on, and she was like, "Man, this is a disgrace,"
Mm-hmm.
And I think again that was another subtle message, like for black women, like be you. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? Don't
Yep.
don't
That
don't
was
do
dope.
these things. It's not like wear your hair how it naturally is, and ironically enough, I saw another kind of meme floating around with about black males needing to wear their hair in dreads and afros and stuff because that's how it naturally is. And somebody was like, if you got waves, and then I put a picture up of of a hieroglyph, of a clearly waves in this guy head, and I'm like, man, hey, we've been here, all right, wear them waves proudly, all right, because we've been had these waves. But anyway, so I thought that was real impactful and cool. And the other scene was where Agent Ross, they were doing the interrogation stuff, and Okoye was talking to T'Challa in their native tongue, and the Agent Ross turned to
And he touched
T'Challa
him.
and was like, "Hey, does she speak English?"
Right.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
That too, that too. And she was like, "Yeah, when she wants to." And I think like you were saying, it was kind of a glimpse of how women are just kind of overlooked. And to T'Challa, like he knew he didn't have to step in at all because in his culture, the women can handle their damn selves. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
and she just let him know, like, yeah, I do what I want when I want. Like, you don't have to ask the king, you can ask me. And I mean, I just love that she had his back at every, like, from the get go. As soon as you saw T'Challa, you saw a
Right.
strong black woman right there supporting him. I didn't even think about that till I just, because like you actually, when he jumped out the plane, she was there. Anytime he go on the war, she there.
Right.
She got his back.
She saved him because
Mm-hmm.
she knew
Right.
what he was gonna do. He was gonna
Right.
freeze up when he saw
Mm-hmm.
Nakia, and he did that. And she was right there. Like, black women are smart. They're intelligent. I mean, it's in their
Mm-hmm.
genetics.
And then
So I was happy the way they
yeah,
portrayed that.
absolutely. And then the last thing I would say is just at the end of the major fight scene where she was she got the rhino to stop. Again, another subtle message, like she's stopping the most powerful thing out there just with a look. Um, and then but when
Right.
she told old dude, he was like, hey, are you gonna kill me, my love? And she like, yeah, for Wakanda, yeah, it's not even a question. But the fact that he just laid
Right.
down and was like, look, I love you, and I'm not gonna beat you. Even if I didn't love you, I'm not gonna beat you in a fight. I thought that was just so powerful
Right.
to
Right.
show that like in this culture, like they're on the same playing field. Like she could hold her own, and he knew that she was the most powerful warrior in the nation, and like he was willing to submit to her. Like I thought that was just super cool to show like women in this role. So yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. That was powerful. Like, going back to the whole rhino stare, uh it was funny because all I could think about was when you're a kid growing up in the church and your mom give you that stare when you acting up, like you could be acting up in the kids choir or something like that, or just sitting on a pew and your mom give you that stare and you really know what you gotta do. You just gotta stop right then and there. Like that stare that she had, like that. That's what reminded me when she did that.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was
Yeah.
hilarious. But with the film, what do you hope that people take from this?
Well, again, just driving home what I said earlier, I hope they take home that, this was not just a glimpse of the future, like some kind of fantasy reality, which, it was, but I think it was kind of a glimpse at how powerful we used to be, back when we were in, Kemet and, before it was called Africa. And, um, I think I hope people take from that we are we've been here for a long time. We have a lot of traditions and
Right,
things that you should look back to. I hope, like Chadwick Boseman did, I hope a lot of people take the time to find out where they came from. And on another note, I hope people take from it that they can, if black people get behind something, man, they can make a lot of moves, man. They can do a lot of good. That one whatever trillion spending power that we talk about sometimes on here, like if you put it in the right
right.
area, major things happen. I think this is the fourth or fifth largest opening weekend all time of all the movies ever made. This made the most, like it's up there. So,
End of February.
right, right,
That's crazy.
yeah. So that's what I hope.
That means people were skipping school on Friday. That means people, they were out for President's Day, but still, like it, it's crazy. Like,
Yeah,
was it like 400 million?
I think worldwide was
Worldwide,
yeah,
yeah,
and
worldwide.
domestic was
That's
like
crazy.
240, which is huge, man. Like that's a lot of money
Right.
domestically. So, because most of the money comes from
Well,
overseas.
well,
Yeah.
right, and that's the thing I wanted to say. Like when it comes to overseas, that's another thing that black people need to learn. Like black movies do sell overseas. Now, what I was what I learned from Michael J. White, he has said that black films have always done well overseas, but it's the action ones. And the
Okay.
reason why it's the action ones is because they enjoy that type of stuff. Now, you have to think about it. When it comes to other actors, they already have actors for comedy. They already have actors for romantic stuff or whatnot. So they have their own market for that. They don't really need that. But when it comes to the action movies, those are what's going to sell overseas, period. Whether you're black, whether you're white, whatever color you are, that is what's going to sell. So um, people need to keep that in their minds when making a movie. Let's say you're independent, you want to make some money overseas, that's the route to go. Make an action movie.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think it's very important for black people to see the power of their dollar. Like it was like amazing to
Yeah.
see
Hmm.
that power. Now that we have Black Panther, let's try to put in these communities. And for the people that's talking about some Marvel should take um some revenue from the movie and put it in the black communities, get out of
Yeah.
here.
Sit all the way
Like,
down,
stop it.
please.
Yeah.
That's stupid, bro.
You wildin'.
Yeah. I
Right.
was just gonna say that, but you took the
Out of
words
all
right
the
out of my mouth.
movies, you want to do that.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Foolish.
And another quick comment I wanted to make too, because you made me think about something. I know some people were saying, or somebody put up a graphic about how what was it? Birth of a Nation had a lot of black uh, actors and
Right.
actresses and stuff like that, and why wasn't everybody getting behind that? Well, one, Birth of a Nation was getting kind of blackballed a little bit because it was, like we saw evidence
It
that,
wasn't at all the theaters, right?
exactly.
Yep.
So one, and then two, I think a bigger factor there is that black people we tired of getting portrayed as slaves and junk,
That's
like
the
that.
number
Right.
one.
I want to be a superhero too. Damn it. You know what I'm saying? Like so. I think that played a big role. I just
So
wanted to
what
say
you gonna
that.
say when they say, "Oh, well, at least this Nat Turner guy rebelled. What do you say about that? Like, it was a slave movie, but he also rebelled.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, Birth of a Nation is one of the most significant films I think that black people can watch. Um,
Yeah, I think the number one thing that we're missing though, Nate Parker had that scandal where they were accusing him of rape.
yeah, 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 yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that had gotten bad press.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which
But
was
black people gonna show out when a black movie of this caliber comes out. Like
yeah, man.
they
Been waiting
gonna
on
do
this
it.
shit
So
ever since they said something about it, man. Yeah. So and I mean, like I
exactly.
said, man, we just it's an important part of our history. I think the films that come out about it are important because I don't think we should ever forget that we were owned by white people at one point.
Right. Right.
But I think it just, we can be other things, man. We can be great scientists. We can be heroes. We can be, generals. We can be um, revolutionaries. You know what I'm saying? Like I think this movie really portrayed
Right.
that. So yeah, man.
Yeah,
But well,
I agree.
hey, man. I think I feel good, man. I feel good that we talked about that.
Yeah, I feel relieved. Like I got something off my chest. Like I've
mm-hmm.
been wanting to talk about the film, but there's people around you that may not have seen the film. So
Mm-hmm. Oh well, shoot, man. You need to go see it. Hell.
right,
And I still don't
see
think
it
it'll take
again.
away from the experience exactly because when I saw it the second time, I think
Right.
I enjoyed it more. I had even more of an appreciation for Michael B. Jordan's role, man. And actually, I was gonna say it too. That you probably already know that, but him and Kugler are talking about doing a Mansa Musa film. You brought up Mansa Musa, so I think that'll be pretty cool to see them
Mm.
to depict that. Cause,
Bro, that's really needed because like I I I just learned about him probably like 5 years ago,
mm-hmm.
and
Same.
I was like, how did we not know this? Like it's crazy to
You
think
know
that somebody was that. Yeah, you
how.
right. Because I mean, yeah, the colonizers. You learn their history, and that's their history, whether it's true or not. And I'm not calling every white person a colonizer. I'm specifically saying the colonizers, literally. But that's very important. And shout out to Ryan Coogler, Oakland native, did an amazing job. Um, Another thing that stuck out in that movie though is the water scene. So, was it the
the
Warrior
tradition.
Waterfall?
Right, right. Yeah, yeah, that was dope.
Bruh,
Mm-hmm.
that thing is lovely. Like,
Mm-hmm.
bruh,
Yep.
I was
That was
just
nice.
like, oh, like it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And then you saw the different Africans, black people, like um hearing Lupita Nyong'o talk. She was saying um there were like people from all walks of life around the world. Like she said there was some from like Nigeria, some from freaking Ghana, some from South Carolina, California, South America. Like it were just black people from around the world in that film as extras. And just to see that and just the whole like I had goosebumps just looking at it. Like it was just beautiful. And they was kind of doing the bankhead bounce with the X.
Yeah.
Bruh, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I'm doing that every time. Like, I was doing that at the gym yesterday. Like it just seeing some type of tradition. Like you like
Mm-hmm.
we said in previous podcasts, like every other ethnicity or whatnot, they have their tradition of whatever they do. Like black people, we don't really have that. We don't know what to do. Like I get low key jealous just seeing Mexicans or any Hispanic speak Spanish. I get jealous because it's like you get to do this. You get to talk whatever you talking. Like I know we didn't speak English. I want to talk our native tongue. Like like we've been in America for thousands of years. Don't get it twisted. Like we didn't come on boats. So like whatever language we was talking, like my family, we're Blackfoot Indian. So I know for a fact, that's whatever we was, doing as far as the language goes. So when I see some tradition, bruh, like I love it. I want to learn more. I want to, do better. So that's something that stuck out. Just seeing all those lovely black people and seeing
Yeah.
some type of tradition.
Yeah, and I hope to a certain extent, man. Like I said, we both keep kind of driving that point home, but I hope we kind of get back to some of that stuff, man. Because I think in just how things have played out for Black people in America, man. Like we've just lost a lot of our tradition and lost a lot of who we are and our self identity, and that may
Right.
be a lot of the root of why we have some of the problems we do, like in our communities. But
Right.
that's a different conversation for a different day. I mean, I feel like we've touched on it several times, but
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Just to think one time. When it comes to English, right? That isn't our
Mm-hmm.
native language. So I'm on the phone. I was talking to a client of mine that was in Quebec, and homie, he speaks some type of Quebec French. So like when he was trying to talk English, it sounded so broken, and it sounded like he was illiterate, even
Mm-hmm.
though I know that's not his native language. Just to think
Right.
about how many black people in the day were made fun of when
Yeah.
trying to
Mm-hmm.
talk English because that's not even their native tongue. Like, just think about that and think about how we've been told that we're stupid and stuff like that only because we were told to live this so-called American slash white lifestyle. But we was already here in America. It used to be called Turtle Island. So like black people need to know like when you're called stupid and stuff like that, don't worry about that because that's not your history. Like your history is much richer. Look at films like Black Panther and other stuff. Please read a book. Um, our history is rich, and that's what I wanted everybody to come away with when it comes to the film and just in general. Like, big yourself up, love yourself. That's the number one thing. Love yourself. Love your history.
Absolutely, man. Cool. Well, hey, we love to know what you guys think about the topics we've discussed. What you think about the school shootings and the mass shootings? What do you think should be done? Let us know what you think. What do you think about Black Panther? Have you seen it? Do you plan on seeing it? So let us know y'all thoughts, man. And appreciate y'all listening as always. So you got anything else, man?
Man, you already know our perceptions are reality. That's all I gotta say.
Cool, man. All right. Thanks for continuing to rock with us, y'all. Um, we'll try to put these out as often as we can, give y'all some content, some things to think about. And Wakanda forever. We
Shout
out.
out to our boy Chris, new engineer one. Yes, sir.